Sammy and EJ were out there. Do you have any updates on them for tonight?
Yeah, Sam's going to play. EJ will not.
Does that mean Jacob be going in for him? Or?
Nope.
You said yesterday lower body for EJ. Lower body for EJ?
It is, yeah.
Day-to-day.
Yes.
And Blackwood going.
Blackwood net.
Are Parker Kelly and LOC in tonight?
Yeah.
I know you've talked about the decision behind just trying to keep everyone fresh. Are you still having those open conversations with those two players about, it's not what they're doing on the ice, it's just for the better good of the team?
Yeah, we've had that conversation more than once, and we're not going to revisit it every time we make a lineup change, but they're in understanding. They know what's going on with them being in or out. Yeah.
You mentioned, when you're on the road that every game feels like a playoff game, that it seems like there's so many teams that have a lot to play for. Detroit's no different, trying to climb back in. What are you guys expecting, and what's the message to your group?
Yeah, well, I don't think a lot changes for our group and our message. We're trying to accomplish something too, right? And we're trying to track down Dallas, stay ahead of Mini, but I think big picture, there's, like I mentioned yesterday, if we get to where we want to go, we can gain back home ice if we stay ahead of 6 or 7 teams that we're also fighting with in conference in the league. So I think it's important to have something to push for, and I think we certainly do at this point, as well as not losing sight of we're still fine-tuning our game and experimenting with some things that we want to see and that could possibly help us in the playoffs. So our guys are aware of all that. I expect the Detroit, again, they go into a tough building in Utah, big game for both teams, come out with a big win last night, and so they're still in the fight. So we know that's almost every team we're playing now has something to play for, which is interesting. So I think it's good. It's a good challenge for our guys, and we should go and enjoy it and keep trying to have success on a nightly basis.
How do you balance kind of watching results and seeing where you fit in the lineup versus focusing on how you want to be entering the playoffs?
I'm not looking at the standings a lot, to be honest with you. I'll check our division scores, and I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm not too worried about that. We are where we are right now. We have a chance to move up. We have a chance to slide down. I'm more focused on the way we're playing and some of the things that we're trying to focus in on, improve on, and then still maintain some other areas of our game and not lose sight of them. So yesterday we talked about our segment 7 and how much improvement we made on the defensive side of things, breakouts, managing the puck on our half of the rink. We got some really good numbers and information that kind of matches the eye test. So we're pretty happy with the way it's going, and we want to make sure that we're sort of getting to our game for 60 minutes. We've had a couple of lulls in some of these games, Calgary, just last game, obviously Montreal. So we want to make sure that we're handling some of those pushes from teams and turning the momentum back in our favor. Starting to talk about things like that. If things get hairy and go sideways, how do we handle it? And what are some of the things that we can do at and away from the puck that will help us get through some of those moments and sort of turn things back in our favor?
You talked about how Charlie Coyle has helped Ross Colton's game lately. What has Joel Kiviranta done on that line to complement what they're doing?
He's the steady. I feel like Kivi's game started at a really high level this year, kind of picked up where it left off last year's playoffs in the second half of the year, and he's been there all year, And so that leads to more scoring opportunities. He's putting the puck in the net more, but I do think it's nothing special. I think it's just him getting to a high level and staying there. He's been one of our most consistent players all year, and so when it comes to mixing in with those two guys, I think they know exactly how he's going to play. He's predictable. They know exactly what they're going to get from him, and which makes it easier to read off one another and builds chemistry.
Is some of that decision-making, too, with how much you like Drury, O'Connor, and Kelly together, you kind of just want to keep them intact when they do play?
No question. Yeah, no question.
Coach, this was a rivalry, the Avs and the Red Wings back in the 90s, early 2000s. That was one of the better rivalries in all of sports. I think there's still a lot of the fan base that feels some of that stuff. Do you guys feel any of that in the locker room?
Not really. It's just such a different schedule now, right? It's such a balanced schedule. I mean, we only see them twice, and it's few and far between, right? Like months apart, and so I just don't. I think some of those rivalry days, like now, I think a rivalry is built on facing each other in the playoffs over and over and over. Like you could see LA and Edmonton go at it again this year. Like that's going to be 4 years in a row they played in the playoffs. So there's going to be some feelings there, and there's going to be like that's how I think they're built now. Yeah.
Yesterday, and he was just talking about how much he's been able to feed off you and doing the right thing and making the right plays. Just how, I guess, one, how do you feel you're fitting in, and what have you kind of taken away from being able to skate with Sam here a bit?
Yeah, it's been great playing with Sammy. He's a heck of a player, really smart player. He's very smooth out there. Seems like he's always making the right play when the puck's on his stick. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun playing with him, and I think we're just getting more and more comfortable with each other. And so yeah, it's been good so far, and hopefully just keep it going.
The intensity really seems like it's ramping up, not just in this locker room, but it seems like every night feels more and more like a playoff game. Just where are you guys at in this room, and with that, kind of moving towards that mentality as you get closer to the end of the season?
Yeah, that's our mindset right now. We want to be playing playoff hockey right now. I think it's 11 games or so left before the playoffs. So, yeah, each game we have, we want to be playing our best hockey and ramping up for the playoffs.
Coming back from that road trip, what were maybe some of the biggest things you guys want to work on over this homestand?
Yeah, I think you look back at that last game. Seemed like we were in control there, being up 4-1 in the third, and then we just kind of took our foot off the gas and let them come back into it. So I think that's something we can work on is just playing a full 60, and when we get that lead, we got to make sure that we're playing smart hockey and doing the right things, and just putting teams away when we can.
How has the game opened up for you offensively in Colorado?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just there's so many good players here. I think it's something they want here is obviously the D to join and be available off the rush in the O zone. So, I think that's something that I'm trying to do, and you just got to be smart about picking the right spots.
Has it been fun for you?
Fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. This is a great group here. It's been real easy for me to join this locker room just because of how awesome everyone's been, and the team seems like it's rolling right now and playing some good hockey. So obviously that makes it a lot of fun too.
A couple of guys have shared the sentiment post-deadline that this team feels like they have something special. Do you share in that?
Yeah, definitely. This is a heck of a group here. Like I said, we're playing good hockey right now, and we just want to get better and better. As we ramp up here for the playoffs. But yeah, it's definitely a special group here, and like I said, it's been a lot of fun to join these guys.
We've talked to a few of the guys about the intensity picking up and needing everyone in the lineup. Just I guess, how are you feeling? You've been able to utilize the extra bodies in the lineup to get a couple nights off here and there. Just guess, where are you at? Where's your unit at?
Yeah, feeling great. I think this time of year everything's ratcheting up across the league. Teams are jockeying for position like ourselves. A team like Detroit is trying to get into playoffs. So all these points matter for everyone, and it's important for us to be dialed in off the hop here. I think, like you mentioned, there's competitiveness within the lineup right now. So I think that brings out the best in everyone, and it's on us tonight between Kels and I and our line and the rest of our group to really put a good foot forward and have a good starting five against a team that's maybe a little more tired than we will be tonight.
Jared said that scratches aren't because of your play. You guys are playing great. The analytics are great. But so how do you, as a veteran, kind of handle the news that, hey, you're going to get tonight off?
Yeah, look, it's very disappointing. There's no way around that. Disappointing, I guess, is the right word to put it. But you just got to be the best teammate you can be. I think you can maximize being out of the lineup for different ways and different tools. See the game from a different vantage point. Sort of just be on the outside is sometimes good, just to sit back and dissect the game in different ways, work on different habits, get your body right for when the time comes to get back in the lineup. And like I mentioned, competitiveness brings out the best in everyone. All of us understand that. The same thing happened when we went through the Cup run in 22. I was out for the first bit of playoffs, as was Alex Newhook, and end of the playoffs were in the lineup consistently. So it's all part of it. Injuries are going to happen, and it's on us to play a really strong game here tonight, play full 60. But I think having competitiveness within the lineup is going to get the most out of everyone going forward.
What can you do? Because you mentioned the depth from 3 years ago. It's sort of a double-sided, it's a double-edged sword. It's great in the macro. It's hard when you're on the other end of the six there. What can you do? Hey, rather than, wait for your chance when somebody gets dinged up.
Yeah, I think you got to maximize the opportunities in practice, really, if you're out. I think that's the only time to showcase yourself or work on your game. You maybe have a bit more time to work on different areas that you want to improve on that are tougher to work on during the season. So, and then just be a good teammate, be positive with the guys. No one wants a guy coming in sulking and being a bad teammate and sort of bringing the mood down. So just being positive around the group, talk about things you see with other teams maybe, help guys out with that, and then just go from there, really.
You guys been really positive about the Kelly, OC, and Drury line. Does it remind you at all of the fourth line in the playoffs with Cogliano and Helm?
Honestly, very similar. I think we all try and play with the same sort of identity, which is a checking, hard to play against, tenacious, fast fourth line. I like to think we can be put out there against anyone matchup-wise, which is definitely advantageous come playoffs when you maybe don't have matchups on the road and you can't control that. Very similar to, like you said, Cogs and Helmer a couple of years ago. So it's on us to just be responsible. I think that's the biggest thing is be good in your D zone and then try and create offensively from there. And matchups are huge, and I think we try and rise to the occasion when we're up against a unit that's has some stars on it or whatnot, and just try and shut them down, try and provide energy for our group. Oftentimes, it's not about scoring or doing that sort of thing in playoffs. It's about just creating momentum and energy, and I think that our line is something that can do that going forward.
Are you the type of guy that pays attention to the standings on off nights during this time of year?
I do. I try not to be consumed by it. Everyone at this point of the year is aware of who's winning, who's losing, but ultimately it's on us to try and go maximize the 11 games we have left and try and get every point we can out of that for the standings going forward in playoffs, home ice, whatever it may be, how things shake out. I think that's really important this time of year.
What do you think of DU's chances?
They got a tough bracket for sure. They got a long ways to go, but if any group can do that against the adversity that it maybe got with how the bracket lined up, it's them. I know Dave Carl would get them right. Matty Davis was huge for them last year throughout the tournament, and they got a veteran group who knows how to win. So have a lot of confidence with them starting in Providence.
People talk about you being a good team. What does that, first of all, how do you take that? What does that mean? Do you think probably something different for everybody?
Yeah, definitely proudful of that. I think have been fortunate to learn under a lot of good teammates who are older coming into the league. Off the top of my head, I think of Calvert, Cogliano, Darren Helm. Those are three guys that all led in different ways, but made amazing careers. And I think just tried to take different things from each of them through their personalities and try and do the same thing for young guys, try and pay it forward a bit and be good in that regard. But just staying positive, trying to create relationships with everyone on the team. I think that's probably the biggest thing is, there's 25 guys in the locker room or so, and if you can form some sort of a bond with everyone, it's not easy, but find some common ground to connect on. You're not going to be best friends with everyone, but sort of open that channel of communication is definitely key, and that's when I think you can get the most out of everyone and hear how guys' days are doing. Simple things as that, just to go above and beyond is definitely something I try and work on consistently to get the most out of our group.